what's going on, everyone? And welcome back to another great epic episode of Just My Opinion Reviews, Oscar Recap Edition. Guys, this one right here, we're talking another 2024 Best Picture nominee, Best Picture nominated, titled The Holdovers. Have you seen it? I hope you have, because me and my lovely guest right here, we are going to get into all of this spoilery goodness. A cranky history teacher at a prep school is forced to remain on campus over the holidays with a grieving cook and a troubled student who has no place to go. Guys, like I just said, this is going to be a spoiler-filled recap, okay? Me and my homie Elliot right here, we're going to spoil this thing up, down, left, right, in, and out as if you've already seen it. That is your warning. And like I said, man, I got my guest over here, Mr. Elliot Collins with Movie Files. Sir, thank you for being here. How are you doing today, sir? How are you doing?
I'm good, man. It's that time of the year. We see over 100+ movies, and we get our favorite ones to talk about, and sometimes they end up being nominated for Best Picture. And The Holdovers was one of those films for me, so I'm really excited to talk about it with you, B.
Yes, sir. And thank you for being here, man. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. And guys, if you love what me and Mr. Elliot has to say, you can follow both of us on social media. Handles are on the screen. Also, his information will be in the description box of this video. And always, guys, show him some love too. Subscribe to his channel. The boy just crossed over 60,000 subscribers. So congratulations, sir. The man does amazing work as far as lives, recaps, reviews, all of that good stuff. And Elliot, when the trailers first came out for this film, it did pique my interest. I'm a big fan of Paul Giamatti, the main lead in this film, who was also nominated for Best Lead, Best Actor in a Leading Role. And I can say off top that I think it's well deserved. Yeah. Does he, at least the nominee of the nomination, does he deserve to win? Of course, we're going to talk about it. This movie is coming in at around 2 hours and 13 minutes, rated R, comedy drama. On top of his Oscar nomination, it has 4 others. We got Best Motion Picture of the Year. That's why we're talking about it. Of course, Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role. Best Performance by an Actress in a Supporting Role by Davine Joy Randolph, who played Mary in this film. Are you familiar with her? Have you seen her in any other projects?
Yeah, man. She popped up on the scene for me for the Eddie Murphy comedy. Dolomite was my name, I think was the name of the film.
Yeah.
That was the first time I was introduced to her. I'm like, dude, she's a star. And here we go. Yeah.
Okay. I did see Dolomite. My name. I thought that was, there you go right there. I thought the film was fantastic. I think I gave that like a perfect 10 out of 10, at least a 9. I was blown away by that, but I did not recognize her initially when I was watching this film. So of course we're going to see if she deserves to win. Also, we have Best Original Screenplay and Best Achievement in Film Editing. No shade to you, Mr. Kevin Tent, but I think Christopher Nolan got you beat over there with his film as far as film editing is concerned. But Elliot can let me know if he disagrees. Now, this says Best Original Screenplay, Elliot. Now, off top, I did enjoy this film. Did I love it? Do I think it deserves Best Picture? I'm going to reserve my commentary on that. But I did Google. I was like, okay, was this based on a true story? Like, why was this story so told? I mean, it's in the 1970s. Just seems very obscure. But the director of this film, by the name of Alexander Payne, who I'm somewhat familiar with, he did the Descendants that came out a number of years ago, and also Downsizing and Nebraska. I really did enjoy Nebraska, Elliot. I don't know if you saw that film. I think I saw this in theaters with my mother. Shout out to her. Downsizing was okay.
I'm not a fan.
It was okay. I liked the beginning of the movie, but I didn't really care for the middle and the end of it. But as far as the director is concerned, Alexander Payne, he said that he was inspired to make this film by watching a 1935 French comedy by the name of Merluz. Kind of the same framework as this of a teacher that nobody liked, that was disliked by all the students and colleagues, that was stuck on campus over the Christmas holidays. So that's kind of what inspired him to make this film. While I did enjoy the first hour of this movie, I was saying to myself, okay, this is entertaining, it's good, but I don't really understand why it's getting so much praise, so much love. It's not a horrible film at all, but it's not the best thing that I've seen all year. You know,
Mm,
it was just some heartfelt moments starting the second half to kind of just tug on my heart a little bit. I started to sympathize and empathize with the characters a bit, and I was like,
yeah.
okay, I really am enjoying this. And
Mm,
Paul Giamatti is great, man. This is described as a comedy drama,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's not your typical comedy. They're not making jokes and
Right,
picking
right.
on each other. It's just
Situational comedy.
yes.
Yeah.
There you go right there. The situation that they're in, these characters that don't want to be there, that are just
Mhm.
stuck in a prison and just have to make the best of the situation. And I was laughing, when he dislocates his shoulder, on the way to the hospital, and he's just like, "Oh my God, you're gonna get me fired," and I'm up there cracking up, man. And so yeah, I'm smiling ear to ear right now. But I've been talking up a storm, Elliot.
Yeah, man.
When I reached out to you, these were two. It was this film and another one that you was like, "Hey, are these still available?" Because I
Mhm,
want to talk about these. So I'm pretty sure that's for a reason. Why don't you
mhm.
let the people know, man? Like, what were your expectations for this film going in when you saw it? Were those expectations met and/or exceeded? And how do you feel about all the nominations it gotten? Do you think it's well deserved? And just give me your overall feelings of it, if you don't mind, sir.
Yeah, man. I mean, going in, so I've been doing this little experiment for the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 years where I avoid trailers for the more, I don't want to say obscure, but the less known films, like blockbuster films. Like I'll watch a Marvel trailer, a DC trailer, Star Wars, but I avoid like A24 or Focus Features. When I see who's attached, Paul Giamatti, like you mentioned, I'm a big fan of his. Alexander Payne, I think he's a great director. And then you have Divine, who I'm just like, whether it's Dolomite, she's in Only Murders in a Building. She's also been in a couple other TV shows I like. I'm like, okay, has all the talent that I like. So I don't need to see a trailer. I'm sold. So when I went into it, it was kind of blind for me. So for me, it was just that experience of like, number one, I think you touched on it, just like the look and the feel of the film. Like I'm very much an aesthetic guy when it comes to certain films, and I love like old school. Even though I wasn't born in the '70s, but I love that old graininess of like the film the look and design of the film, a wintry environment, a Christmas story. Which I think, going back to your point about the why was it potentially nominated, I think the Oscars and a lot of moviegoers love that old school, feel good Christmas holiday, come together, people from three walks of life, one generation. You got Dominic Sessa as the young character, the Divine as the person that's going through grieving as in her midlife. Then you have the older character with the teacher here that's just kind of having a midlife crisis of his own of extent. So all these people come together, Christmas vibes, throwback to the '70s. I think it has all the ingredients of like films that a lot of the Academy Award voters like to see in their films. And I think to me, this is just like a feel good film that talks about not judging a book by its cover. We have a lot more in relation than we do differences. And it just really, like you mentioned, it tugs at the heartstrings, and it has a lot of good comedy, not forced comedy. And it has some really good, like I said, messaging and performances, as you mentioned, the two nominees that we got here. And I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but shout out to Dominic Sessa, man. This is his first film acting against two great actors. One is, legendary in his own right, and Paul Giamatti, and working with someone like Alexander Payne for the first time. He really impressed me out of his first going. So I saw a couple of interviews of him saying like, oh, I like acting. We'll see where it goes. Like he seems to be more of like a stage actor, but if he decides to make this, a long time thing, I think this kid has a bright future ahead of him, because I thought he was great in this film.
I agree with you 100%, not only on Dominique Sessa, but everything you just said. You brought up so many things I want to touch on, pretty much everything you said. You said you like the old school vibe, being a period piece, the
Mm-hmm.
grainy look. And you would think that this movie was shot on film, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It says that the director talked about, even though the movie features a heavy film look of reminiscent of the '70s, it was entirely shot digitally on the Arri Alexa Mini camera. And so all the hallmarks of celluloid film, like the film grain, halation, dirt, and gate weave, were added in post-production. And so that's just a, true testament right there of the talent and what goes behind the scenes and post-production, to give you that old aesthetic, grainy look. And that did stand out to me, especially at the very beginning of this movie,
Yeah.
because I just really wasn't expecting it. Also, something you said is that it has that Christmas vibe, Christmas story, like feeling to it. But
Yeah,
the director himself says that he hates that description that his movie is
it's a
being
Christmas
described as
movie.
a Christmas story or a Christmas movie.
Interesting.
Alexander Payne said he kind of wants it to stand on his own,
Sure,
and it
sure.
kind of it made him a little bit squeamish when he heard that his film was being described that way. I'm pretty sure he'll get over it
Yeah,
because pretty much everybody loved it. But it's just funny that everybody felt that way, but he's like, no, don't describe it that way. And everybody did, man. It got a 97% right now. 97% of the critics did like it out of
yeah.
349 reviews, and the audience liked it as well.
Mhm,
And I just saw it recently. I wanted to see it in theaters. I had an
mhm.
opportunity to check it out at a screening, but it got away from me as it does sometimes. But I really am glad that I got a chance to see it because it was quite good, man. And you like you said, man, we cannot judge people. You don't know what people are going through. You don't
Right.
know where they're coming from. And I was blessed, man. When I was in college, I was able to go home
Mm,
to my parents. And I kind of remember seeing some other students that some I kind of knew, some I didn't
mhm.
when I was a freshman in college, and they didn't have that same opportunity. And it didn't really hit me as hard then. I was, oh, okay,
Yeah,
they'll be
yeah.
all right,
Right.
but they're probably in their dorm crying or in the pool hall by themselves, and
Mhm.
you just really don't think about these things. And then seeing this character, Angus Tully, and all the things that he's going through at the very beginning of the movie, begging his mom, please do not do this to me. Please
Mhm.
don't leave me. And she's out here like, hey, mama got to have a life too. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
With her new
Mhm.
husband. And while that's true, I didn't understand the whole gravity of the situation until the
So, yeah.
latter half of the film. And I
Yep.
was sitting in this exact chair when I was watching the film, and I was just like, damn, this sucks. His mom is a hard ass. I know he doesn't have a good relationship with his stepdad, and I
Yeah.
really thought his dad was dead. But
Mhm.
no, man, he is in a mental institution, a mental hospital.
Yep.
He said all these things like, "Hey, Dad, I'm third and fourth in pre-calc, and I'm doing this, I'm doing that." And this man, and not judge him at all, but he's like, "Oh, I think they're putting something in my food." I was like, "Oh
Yeah,
my
he's not.
gosh, I understand why Angus
Yep.
is such a hole, or is he really an a-hole? Should we?" I mean, I would be just as bad or worse if I
Yeah.
was going through that. And also, Elliot, if you have any of your own standout moments, when they was in Boston
Mhm.
and Paul brought him the breakfast, and he said, "Hey, I got your breakfast." He takes his little toiletry
Oh,
bag,
yeah, yeah.
drops the medication, and he's like, "Oh, you're taking this for depression?" He's like, "No." And then we see Paul's medicine. He's taking it for the same thing. They're both depressed.
Yep.
It's just like it's just really interesting how this story came to be, somewhat based on a true story in a way that these two characters hated each other, couldn't stand each other, but they have so many similarities. And it was like, this was a match made in heaven in a way. It's just
Yeah.
really interesting how things play out. And I was just like, wow, like what are the chances that, these two people are the formula to, solve each other's problems in a way, therapy in a sense.
Mhm.
It just really stood out to me, man. So I mean, you can comment on it if you want to, or if there's any other standout moments that really stuck out to you. But those two really did stick out to me while I was watching this. But like, where are you at on any of that?
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you said. And then you throw in Divine's character, who's someone, we have Paul Giamatti who avoids people, and you have Dominic Sessa's character who is just trying to detach himself with people at the same time, like not willingly trying to open himself up. And Divine is like the one that brings them together because she lost someone. So she
Right.
literally doesn't have a choice. Her son's gone. So like they're looking at her like maybe we should appreciate the people that we have around us, and maybe we should appreciate our family, and and take in welcomeness and familyness. So I love how she kind of comes into the story. And I love that the film didn't like just throw her in for like comic relief or throw her in like just kind of like a throwaway character. Like she had her own little arc when she goes to her sister's house and puts her sister's now having a baby. She's giving her son's clothes to her, so she's not moving past that, but she's able to kind of continue her life and find a kind of that I guess not necessarily grieving and sadness, but appreciating the moment she did have with her son, and that she was able to get him to college and the time she was able to share with him. So I thought all three of these actors had such a great arc and their chemistry was so great. And if I had a favorite standout moment, I think it goes back to, again, how Dominic Sessa's character was like you mentioned, on the a-hole at the beginning of the film. And when he gets the whole situation, when they find out that he went to go visit his dad, and Divine like holds his hand when he's sitting on the bench, just like a nice little quiet moment between two characters that, again, you would never imagine would be hanging out on the weekend with each other and having something in common. So a lot of great moments, man. And just like I said, the vibe and the overall feeling you get while watching it was something that, like I said, stood out to me, man. It was really, really well put together.
Yeah, yeah. And, as each day goes by, myself, yourself, everybody, we get more mature, or hopefully that's the case. But I still have pieces of pettiness, in me. And so I did really get a kick out of, I forgot the character's name, the bully towards the beginning of the film that stole the picture. He took the glove off the other young child's hand and threw it in the river. Or the lake, and how he came back with sunburn or snowburn on his face. I got a real good kick out of that. I don't know, maybe nobody else did, but that really did stand out to me as well. As far as my petty nature is concerned. But then, not what I also liked about it is how they were able to help each other out and kind of bounce off each other at the last minute. When they was in Boston and he ran into an old colleague, I think from 30 years ago. Like, oh yeah, this is my uncle. He's writing a book called Flashing Lights or something like that. And it's just funny. The whole movie, he's like, oh, you're a Barton man, you don't lie. But he told a bald-faced lie right there and kind of just revealed his backstory. Telling him just like, hey, this guy was an asshole. He tried to frame me for plagiarism. I ended up hitting him with the car. He shit himself. And personally, I really like toilet humor. You know what I'm saying? And their bond in that moment. We're like, fuck that guy. He's like, yes, fuck that guy. It's just like, man, they're really getting along right now.
Because he probably reminds of Dominic Sessa character, the guy you were just talking about, that got the tan. He probably like, I can relate to a bully or someone that gets on your nerve and gets under your skin.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And so I got a real kick out of that right there too. I also felt sorry for Paul. Well, do you think he was actually afraid of women? I don't think he was a virgin because Tully called him out on it. He was like, oh no, back in my day, my loins were as fire. Was something he said about fire? He was like, the details will curl your toes.
But
do you really think that he was afraid of women, or just only paid attention to choosing signals or something?
I think he kind of just got in his own head and just kind of put himself in a box. He knew that he had that body odor situation that he knows is probably not the most appealing for women, and he also comes off very dickish. So he comes off in a way that he might not be as welcoming. So I think he just, some people just are just past, affectionate and being in a relationship. So I think he was at that point in his life. It was just like, I had my time. Now I'm just, here to teach these kids to try to do better. So I think he did like women. And who's to say, obviously, we'll never get a sequel. But I think after his experience with, Dominic Sessa, Divine, he might, again, open himself up more to maybe allowing himself to fall in love or find someone that's interested in him and likes his interests. So I think he did like women, but I think he just, like I said, put himself in a mindset. It was like, I don't have time for love right now. I just want to just do me and focus on, trying to make these kids do better in the world.
Yeah. And unless it just kind of just fell in his lap.
Yeah. Which I will admit, I was like, oh man, that kind of sucks when we find out that the girl that was so nice to him had a boyfriend.
Yeah, that really got under his skin. Because he was playing it well. He was invited. He didn't want to go, and they called him out on it. But he was slightly socially awkward. He made a joke or a comment, and it really didn't land. But he was able to kind of transition out of that, kind of when it was at the Christmas tree. I think I forgot exactly what he said, but he made a comment about the tree,
Mhm.
And it was just like, oh, okay, that really didn't work. So let me move on to the next topic. But
Yeah.
yeah, he didn't want to be too pressing because he didn't say, oh, I think you're very pretty or
Yep.
beautiful, or you got a nice body or something like crazy like that. But he was like, you're very sweet. He was kind of walking on eggshells, and that's honorable, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah.
when she answered the door, it was her boo thing, man. That really did suck the wind out of him. And I was like, damn it. That really sucks. While Tully Angus was down there locking lips with old girl's niece.
Which is a plot that I wish was maybe a little. There's some like moments where I'm like, oh, I would have liked some closure on certain elements, like that being one of them. But we would assume that he maybe talked to her spring break or something like that.
Yeah, hopefully, because they got along pretty great, doing
Yeah.
all their finger painting and
Yeah.
and things like that. What did you think of? I think his name was Danny, the
Oh, the
custodian.
custodian.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah,
That's my
yeah.
guy.
Yeah, I liked him too. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I mean, I guess it was just a hard time for Mary. She just really didn't have it in her to energy for any type of romance because she
Yeah.
lost. Not only did she lose her son, but she also talking about she lost her husband a while back as well from I forgot some accident, but she said something hit him in the head.
Hmm.
But yeah, man, I felt really sorry for her too when she kind of broke down at the party. But Danny was trying to shoot his shot as well. And I liked him. You know.
Yeah, I appreciate that about him because I think he was very aware of the losses she had, and he was kind of playing both sides of like, "Hey, I'm here for you to lean on, but I'm also very much interested if you were, if you're interested as well." So I think that one can assume that maybe as time goes by, she's opened herself up very much like Paul Giovanni did it, that they might find something to relationship at a later date. But again, it's always, I mean, I know movies always like to play like the guy and girl get together, but just sometimes things are platonic. It could just be a respectful relationship. Or, maybe she doesn't want to, have a relationship with someone she works with, or whatever the case may be. But I appreciated the delicacy that Danny had around her, knowing that she lost someone, but also having a shoulder to lean on. So I like that character a lot. Again, even the small characters like Danny, like you just mentioned, someone that stood out to me.
Yeah, man. Just something else about this film, and you realize this all the time when you get older, man. You just got to appreciate what you do have,
Mhm.
because this really sucks. The situation that especially Angus Tully was in,
Yeah.
and Paul. This was not his time to be a hangover, but he was being punished because he wants to fail one of the students. I respected him as far as that's concerned. Like, they can't just let somebody pass by if they just turning in zeros and not doing their
Yeah.
homework. So I respected him as far as that's concerned. And I love this choice of words. But when they brought in the new year
Yeah.
and just them sitting around the couch and then lighting off the firework in the kitchen, the firecracker,
Mhm. Mhm.
just another moment. So I was just like, man, this is nice. This is sweet. And we're human beings. We're not designed to be by ourselves all the time. We need that human interaction.
Right.
And so
Right.
I'm always one to reach out to somebody just to say hello or make
Mhm.
conversation, even if it's not reciprocated, because that's just how I am. My brother gets on me about that all the time. Damn, what do you want? You leave me alone. But that's just how I am,
Yeah.
And so I've always been that way, and it just
Mhm.
kind of made me think about that and not feel as bad because I'm just like, I like checking on people,
Yeah, it's a
because
good thing. Yeah.
people go through stuff. Everybody in this film was going through things. I
Yeah.
didn't expect Paul's backstory. Mary was kind of in the very beginning. I didn't expect Angus's backstory either. I thought how did you feel about his mother? I thought that was awful. I'm like, why are you wanting to pull this guy from school and punish him? I love the fact that Paul stood up like this was a family matter and you had no, I don't give a damn. Okay, you guys were
Mhm.
unreachable. And I'm just like, you know what? He got a point. I mean, she has because he didn't overstep. He lied because he didn't want Angus to
Yeah.
get in trouble, but he didn't overstep. They in the movie. He the one that snuck off in the cab. What he's going to like?
Yeah.
No, you can't see your father. Like, come on, this guy's a saint. You know what I'm
I
saying?
think that plays into like even thinking about going back to this being a period piece and how mental health was such a taboo subject matter for a lot of people. Like people don't want you to know that they're going through issues. Everything's good and hunky dory. So I think that 70s, 80s mindset of like mental health, her husband was sick, that she was one to kind of, and plus the film never really explored. Like obviously she probably dealt with her own trials and tribulations, having a husband that's going through all the stuff that he's went through. So it was, it's kind of something that she's just trying to put behind herself. But again, I think the stigma of like mental health was something that she was probably ashamed of, and trying to, again, appearances. He's in this, good school and wants to have, the family looking like everything's good. So I think that that's where the mom's perspective came in. And just like, again, that whole everything's fine with the Joneses, there's nothing to worry about over here, nothing to see over here type of old school approach, where, like I said, nowadays people are more accepting to mental health and the attention it deserves. So I think it was maybe that's where her animosity and anger came from. It's just like she don't want her dirty laundry out there for people to judge.
I feel you on that, man. I do, because people can be nasty, even though I didn't like her. I'm like,
Yeah.
like she was 17, 18 years old. You send him off to boarding school, and he just want to spend a week or two at home. And come on, but anyway. Now, Elliot, I can't come to any conclusions right now as far as who I think should win all these nominations, because I still have, this is pre-recorded a while before the actual Oscars. But I will be doing a recap the Monday afterwards, Monday, March 11th, 6:30 p.m. CST. So guys, come back if you're watching this, okay, and see my recap of who won, who lost, and all that good stuff. At this point in time, I will be able to provide more commentary on who I personally thought should have won or should have lost, etc. But right now, Elliot, I want to ask you, before we head out of here, man, we got these 5 nominations. Can you say who? Do you think that Paul Giamatti should win leading actor, or your girl Divine Joy Randolph? Do you think she should win Best Supporting Actress, or you think it should win Best Most? Where are you at on these nominations? Do you agree, disagree, or who do you think should win, if any at all?
Yeah, I think motion pictures probably out of the question. I think we all can agree that Oppenheimer is the leading choice for that category. But there was, at the beginning of the award circuit, there was some momentum that people were like, hey, this could be a dark horse situation when it comes to, I think of like La La Land being like the clear winner, all those years ago. But then, Moonlight came out of nowhere. So a lot of people have that kind of dark horse mindset with Holdovers, but I think it's pretty set in stone that probably Oppenheimer is going to win, and deservedly so. Now, as far as Best Actor, another Oppenheimer debate, with Cillian just winning that SAG. That's a pretty good momentum swing for him. But Paul, prior to that, was sweeping all the awards to that. So I wouldn't be surprised if Paul Giamatti does beat out, Mr. Cillian Murphy, when it comes to best lead, because I think he does. I love both performances, but I think Paul does have a little bit more range in the role. And again, this isn't a knock on Cillian, but I think he's tasked with a little bit more to do in the film to show you a little bit more of what he's given in the role. But again, I wouldn't be surprised either which way, Cillian or Giamatti. I think the only one that's a lock is Divine. I think she swept all the awards. Like there was no other content. I can't even think of who's else in the category with her, because she's just been winning all the awards when it comes to best support. I think Jodie Foster might have been in that category if I can remember correctly, but she's been winning all of them. So I think that is the clear winner of best supporting role is going to go to her. She's been winning all the awards. Yeah, who's she going against?
That's actor, actress, and the supporting is
Jodie Foster.
Emily Blunt. I think Emily got her, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a pretty
purple. No.
Yeah, that's I think her speech at the end got her that award.
Yeah.
And then Jodie Foster. Yeah, I do agree. Emily was great in there, but I don't think she wasn't as impactful to the overall story. She didn't really get, like, her one moment is when she doesn't shake the hand of the one scientist. But I think Divine has more standout moments, like when they play the reels of like their scene. I think Divine has more to do in the movie than Emily. But Emily was Emily was great, as well as Danielle Brooks. But I think Divine is the clear-cut winner in this one, and it's going to be great to see her on stage getting the award.
Okay. I haven't seen Nayad at the moment of this recording, so I can't comment on that.
She was the best part of Nayad, is Jodie Foster.
No disrespect for Miss America
Yeah,
Ferrera,
that
but
yeah.
that's just not. Daniel Brooks was good. I,
Mhm.
I I love Divine, man, but me. So you giving it to Divine? I gotta
Yeah.
give it to Emily. I got it. That's just you know. I mean, Divine was good, but I'm gonna give it to Emily. But you know, that's what's up right there. Best achievement in editing, I think that's gonna go to Oppenheimer, and original screenplay. Who knows? Who knows? But Elliot, before we head out of here, man, do you have any final thoughts? Anything else you want to get off your chest for this Oscar film right here?
No, I think again, Alexander Payne put a really good film together, which I know he, like you say, he doesn't think it's a Christmas movie, but I think it's going to be a movie I revisit during the holidays. I think it does hit on those tones of being good spirited and caring for one another and spending time with, even if it's not your blood family, you can always find your own family in a sense. So I think it is a holiday classic, even though Mr. Payne would disagree with me on that. But no, I think it's a really great film and a film that I'm going to revisit for the foreseeable future because it is that damn good.
Already, man. Already. Well, Elliot, thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it as I'm trying to upload a few images as we're doing this. But guys, that is going to wrap it up for the Holdovers movie review recap for the Oscars 2024, the 96th Academy Awards. Let us know what you thought about the film in the comments below. Let us know what you thought about our commentary. And again, guys, don't forget the Oscars is Sunday, March 10th, but Monday, March 11th, I will be going live at 6:30 p.m. CST to recap everything, to talk about the wins, the losses, all of that. Subscribe to the channel so you can get all of that recap goodness. Also, guys, I'm reviewing as many of the Best Picture nominated films as I possibly can, like Oppenheimer. That's already uploaded to the channel, Anatomy of a Fall, and also Barbie. And of course, I'm going to be doing some other ones as well. And by the time you're watching this, okay, episode 3 of Shogun is on FX, Disney Plus, and Hulu. Me and Kimberly Curran from Southern California, man, we've been recapping those. It's fire. This episode 3 got episode 2, episode 1, and also a non-spoiler review for the first 10 episodes. So check that out as well. And before we head out of here, Elliot, why don't you let the good people know what you got going on your lovely channel, sir?
Yeah, man. Well, I'll be watching all of Brandon's coverage. I definitely don't have as much besides watching the Oscars. But yeah, man, you guys can find me here on YouTube. I just got done covering, Night Country, True Detective, and a couple movies came out. One of my most anticipated films of the year, Stuck the Landing with Dune 2. And as we kind of move along the rest of this month of March, we got Kong X Godzilla and Ghostbusters and a couple other smaller independent films I'm looking forward to. So yeah, definitely check me out, guys, if you're into that stuff.
Already, man. And yeah, make sure you help him get to 75K. Guys, at the time of this recording, I am 197 subscribers away from hitting 50,000. So hit the subscribe button, help me reach that milestone. I've been telling y'all this for 2 or 3 years. As soon as I hit 50,000, I'm gonna do a video recap of all of my VHS movies, DVDs, Blu-rays, and 4K. I'm gonna go through my entire collection, even the
Like
VHS.
a live stream or just like a pre-recorded.
I haven't decided yet. Because live will be kind of difficult. So
Yeah.
it is gonna be something, So
Yeah.
we're gonna
Nice.
see. It's gonna be a video, a recording, one or the other. But guys, again, we just want to thank you so much for tuning in. And before you go, don't forget that I'm B. Avery, that's Elliot, and that's just our opinion. Peace out, and we'll see you next time.